Oh.
Hello and welcome to another episode of WP Roundtable. I'm Jason Crawford coming to you from Medellin, Colombia. We do have a great guest today, but also a new addition to the roundtable. Rich, you want to tell us about yourself?
Hey everybody. Well, first of all, I'm excited to be part of the roundtable. I'm a freelance developer. I teach web development at the local community college over here in Northeast Ohio in the Cleveland area. And I've only been in WordPress for about a year, but I absolutely love this community and anything involved with it. It's an amazing group of people.
All right, I'm up next. I'm Kellen Mace. I'm a freelance as well. I run a web development agency with me, myself, and I as my co-partner. I'm located in Rochester Hills, which is kind of the east side of Michigan, Metro Detroit area. So give me a ring for any web development gigs. Thank you. Kyle up next.
All right, thanks. I'm up next, and my name's Kyle, and do fun things with WordPress and sometimes brew tasty beers at home. It's delicious.
Ooh. Show off.
That stuff's so good. So I'm happy to be here with you guys tonight and talking with a very special guest. Somebody I've been excited about having on the show for quite a while. Asked a long time ago to get on the show. Had to work into his very busy schedule. He's the tough guy to coordinate with. I've had to work through agents and booking and all kinds of things and pay so much money. But we got him on the show. So really happy to have Nikhil Vimal, also known as NikV or TechVoltz on Twitter. That omnipresent wisecracker on Twitter, so everybody should know who he is by now. He's a plugin developer, great blogger, and to my knowledge hasn't graduated high school yet. So, Nick, why don't you say a few things about yourself, and welcome to the show.
Well, first off, Kyle, I haven't gotten that check yet from the show, so. But other than that, yep. Hi, I'm Nikhil. I'm a WordPress developer from the mighty Midwest. What do? I go to school by day, and I do I build plugins by night. I think you could put it that way. And do a lot of speaking, or I try to do a lot of speaking. I love to build things. It's a big passion of mine, and I've been doing it as a side hobby. I have a business, per se, be launching soon again. It's called TechVoltz, and I'm the founder and developer there. So that's pretty much me.
Sweet, Nick. Thanks for joining us. We've got a lot to talk about and so many things that we want to ask you to learn more about you. So before we get to the questions, we want to cover our quick picks of the week. So I'll tell you mine real quick. I've got a quick pick, and it is this amazing plugin that I just found on GitHub. It's called Ninja Forms Slack Integration, and it's fantastic. And it was written by our guest today, NikV. Authored this plugin. It's available on GitHub. You go to github.com/NikV. You'll find his repositories and look for Ninja Forms Slack. And what it does is allows you to get a Slack notification when someone submits something through your Ninja Forms form on your site, which I think is pretty legit. That's some cool stuff. So, thumbs up there. That's me.
All right.
Go ahead.
I'll go ahead. I've got just a little security announcement. It looks like I'm over here on blog.security.net, and they've got a rev slider, vulnerability leads to massive WordPress soak compromise, and a bunch of words that I don't even understand. However, I think pointing out vulnerabilities whenever we can is a pretty important thing to do. So check it out over there. I'll post the link to the actual article in the show notes, and if somebody understands all those big words better than I do, they can explain it to me.
Cool, man.
Okay.
Well, I'll jump in next year if that's all right with the group. Real quick, my quick pick is WordSesh. I can't believe none of the others picked this, but it's a really awesome event. This is going on this coming Saturday. So it's December 19th. And let's see, it'll be I think 5 p.m. Eastern. What's going on? It's 0-100 hours UTC, so you would adjust for your time zone. But this is an event for anybody not familiar. It involves 24 hours of continuous, just streamed presentations from some of the better-known folks in the WordPress community. Some of them, development focused, some of them business focused, some a mix of those two, or touching on other topics as well. But it's really great. The idea when it first made its debut, this will be the third word sesh. So it'll be 3 years ago now. When it first came about, the idea was to have a WordCamp type event where you could hear some of these big name speakers talk about great topics that they're very familiar with related to WordPress without leaving your home, just to do it all from your armchair, so to speak. So WordSesh was born, and this is the third time around, and it's free. So anybody who wants to tune in can go to wordsesh.org, I believe. Yep, wordsesh.org, and tune in next week, Saturday.
I'll be speaking at WordSesh, by the way. Saturday night, plugin development roundtable. Be there.
Thank you, yes.
All right. My pick of the week is a plugin called P3, Plugin Performance Profiler. It's a handy little plugin that will evaluate all your other plugins and give you an idea of what's dragging down your site. It's real handy just for a quick look. You can do an auto scan, or you can do a specific click scan and just pick which different aspects of your site you want to evaluate. But I went through it a couple of times on a couple of different sites, and it was kind of eye-opening to see what plugins were in fact slowing it down. It actually forced me to make a couple changes. So P3, Plugin Performance Profiler, on the .org repository. One of the authors is Chris Klosowski. I believe he works for GoDaddy. It's got 472,000 downloads, 4.6 stars. So it's last updated October 31st of this year. So it's an active, popular plugin.
Thanks, Rich. That's a great plugin. Chris is a friend of ours and former guest on the show, episode 30 maybe, just about a month ago. So that's a lot of good stuff. Those are some good picks, you guys.
Well, I didn't go yet.
Yeah, Nick's last.
I'm supposed to go, right? Or...
Saving the best for last.
That's right. I wasn't, I wasn't Kyle talk. So, anyways, minus a quick one. It's WP E-commerce 3.9 is out. WP E-commerce has been known to be a little bit of a clunky plugin at times, and it doesn't get the best reviews. But slowly, from what it sounds like, that's changing. Massive rehaul of poor code and better standards, and I was a little bit part of some inline documentation and other little things here and there within the plugin itself. So check it out. It's definitely better. It's a lot of cool things coming in the future too. So, yep, that's mine.
It's awesome, Nick. Thanks for pointing that out. I am interested in following what those guys were doing with that plugin, because it is making a pretty cool turnaround.
Yeah, for sure.
So now let's start talking about NikV. We want to learn more about you and dive into all the cool things that you're up to. So we've got a lot of interesting topics that we want to cover, and we want to bring. But first, we want to bring everybody up to date. Let's give you the world the Cliff Notes version of your illustrious career to date. Let's go all the way back to before you were a WordPress professional, like way back. Like I'm talking this spring.
Spring? I think I'd have to go to last spring, and the spring maybe before that even.
I'm joking. Okay.
So you want me to where I started with website stuff?
Where did you start? I mean, what day did you wake up and say, "Whoa, I found my calling"?
Right. All right. So it's a funny story, really. I'm pretty big into gaming still. I used to be more of a gamer back then, and I don't know really where it came from. I had some friends who showed me Google sites actually, and I had this sudden idea, why don't I make a website, like a fan website for a video game or something like that. and that eventually just evolved because I was like, Google Sites was at that time for me, it was really, really awesome. But then I found like Wix, and I just went through like wiki spaces. It was really cool, and I was doing some of that stuff through school as well, and it was really fun. And eventually I just stumbled across WordPress.com, and I was not even interested in doing gaming sites anymore. I was trying, different kind of websites just to try out, all the WordPress themes and all the cool features of .com at the time. And eventually I found WordPress.org through that, and I just got hosting and set it up, and I was, I guess you could say I instantly fell in love with, just the plugins, the themes, and just WordPress was pretty cool to me. It was really awesome. And so for about a year, I think, I was just playing with WordPress. I actually helped some teachers get set up with WordPress at school. And it was no development stuff just yet. It was just I really liked WordPress and installing plugins and doing cool things with themes, the simple WordPress stuff, just a simple WordPress user. And then eventually I found my first WordCamp, which was WordCamp Minneapolis 2013. I was interested. I saw that there was this massive community. It's kind of hard to miss sometimes, really, when you're using plugins like BuddyPress and BBPress and Jetpack and all of that. So I decided I'd try this. I wanted to learn more about WordPress. I wanted to get involved with the community. And I think after that I found a mentor, actually. And the summer, so WordCamp Minneapolis was in spring. So summer right after that, this mentor helped me out, and he got me into development. And then so August of last year, one day, this was literally the one day I just woke up and I said, you know what, I'm going to try developing a theme with WordPress. And so that's what I did. I fired up underscores and I just started building, and I think I've coded just about every day since then. It's a line of code at least every day since then, and it's been an awesome journey. I got the idea for a business because I saw that this would be a really cool thing to take into a business, and I felt like I was getting really good at it at a pretty good pace. So yeah, I think, and so really I ended up doing some things with WordPress themes. That didn't really work out for me. And then I got into just kind of transition to that into plugin development, and now that's where I sit. So, and I don't know if we'll have a question more about that later, but that's the whole story till now. So.
Well, I love talking about plugin development, but that's a good story. So, so you eventually found your way into WordPress. You've been doing code ever since. You've been really loving it. You feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, what I want to be doing.
Absolutely.
Full time. So let's take it to today. What are you actively working on and trying to accomplish at this moment?
So right now, I think the big thing is I've been back and forth between a phase of learning and a phase of building big things. So I was the first half of this year I was building a theme for a long time because I was really making sure to pay attention to detail, design, and everything. And that still didn't work out, but it was a really, really big learning experience for me. And so that just kind of fizzled away. I didn't really find that too fun anymore in June, and I just switched into this whole idea of plugin development. Got into a lot of learning. I did a lot of learning to get back on track in that, and then this fall I've been doing a lot of just, different projects with plugins and stuff, and finally I'm releasing some of that to the WordPress world now, and I think my goal is to just create some cool plugins, get some, the Slack thing. It's just the beginning. I hope to build some more Slack plugins and stuff like that, and I have big plans for my business, TechVoltz, and yeah, I think I just didn't find my place in themes, so I got really into plugin development, learned it, and right now I think I'm at a state where I'm just trying to build some things, get some more plugins on WordPress.org, on GitHub, just share some of the cool things I've done and what I want to, what I want people to use and what I think is useful to them. So.
All right, Nick, I got a question for you. You know, I've joked with you personally. You know, you're a high school student. You're doing something that a lot of adults struggle to do good. What has been your biggest challenge so far in this last year and this time frame that you were talking about? And then what is your biggest challenge going to be for the next year going forward as a high school student and as a WordPress developer?
So a challenge that's a good question. So I would say that there were times where I balance it pretty well. I will say that. I'll be quite honest up front now that there haven't been too many incidents where where WordPress and homework would kind of interlap in a bad way. But biggest challenges, I suppose I would like to. There's a lot of things I'd like to learn. And I'm learning them, but at a very, very slow pace because, you know, school does tend to sometimes slow that process down. You know, these plugins that I'm building right now are relatively simple, but they're like right now I'm building my first major plugin extension, and that is, I mean, if I had all last week off, for example, I'd be done with it. I think it looks really cool and stuff. But unfortunately, it's going to be probably, you know, next week I have winter break, so that's always good. But there are definitely things that I'd want to finish faster, things I'd want to, you know, learn a little bit, not choppy learning, but rather kind of just learn it in a day sort of thing. The summer was great for that. You know, I did have a learning period in the summer where I just learned things, and it was great. But, you know, sometimes during the school year it just kind of interrupts that. But other than that, I don't think there's any major challenges. Next year, I think it'll be sort of the same thing, just trying to make sure that I can, you know, I want to juggle some of that learning and other things. But no major challenges yet. I haven't come across something too bad yet.
That's awesome.
I got a quick one for you. Just a little side story. About the time I was getting into WordPress, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago, whatever it was, my brother was about your age, and I tried to get him to, you know, start leaning into it, and he had no interest. What would you tell the other people your age? You know, the good parts, the bad parts, whatever you want to tell them, if you could reach that whole community right now.
Right. So, you know, funny enough, actually, software development is becoming really popular within the school. Like a lot of high school students, I think this was a recent rise, really. I think the thing about WordPress, and I had some friends who have tried to show it to them, is I think they have generally a wrong idea of like PHP and JavaScript and stuff. They do, you know, a lot of the times their parents tell them that Java's the way to go, right? Like I think a lot of students have been through that where it's like, you know, Java's the big language, you know. And my parents were never really like that. They, you know, I was always introduced to different code things. I never really got into it until, you know, recently or last year, obviously. But I think I tell them that to really do try PHP and HTML and JavaScript and all this, because at the end of the day, you know, it's much easier. I think it can be easier. It can be harder, but I think it's something cool to try, and I think they don't really realize that they're really like playing with the internet in a sense, because obviously, you know, JavaScript, that's major. I mean, everything that I do interacts with the browser in some way, which I think some people, you know, some students fail to realize that that's actually really cool when you know, I have a funny story where I think I must have been last year at school or something. I was using Chrome developer tools at school for an assignment because the website was like, there was a pop-up that would never close. And so I, you know, just kind of removed some HTML elements and got the web page to show up. And that was like, that was major. No one was like, whoa, what is this? You know, like, did you hack the computer? Did you, like, you know, I think they just don't realize, like, how cool it really is. And maybe, you know, the programmers I know don't maybe get the wrong idea about that. But I think I tell them to try it out, I think. And at the end of the day, I think it'll be, I think it's a good experience. Great to learn.
Yeah, I think you're bringing up some really great points. One of the things that really interested me is, you know, that high school students have so many various hobbies, and there's not a lot of high school students out there. How about just from the practical blogging standpoint, not necessarily from the coding standpoint?
I would say, so I was assuming you meant coding and stuff because you were saying, you know, but let's see, from the blogging, sorry about that. From the blogging standpoint, I I don't think people have really gotten into WordPress. I think, like, think of like Flappy Bird. That came and went really fast. I think WordPress.com doesn't necessarily market to teens, right? I think it's, but Facebook did. They marketed Instagram, Twitter. They do market to, like, and I'm not blaming WordPress or anything for that. I just think that more people need to be introduced to that to really see it. I think they just don't know about it. I think when I say WordPress for the first time, people are like, oh yeah, isn't that some kind of like social media? Isn't that some kind of like, they don't really understand how cool it can be. So I guess, again, I just tell them what WordPress is and the possibilities in terms of blogging and stuff that you can do.
So let's go back a little bit. I've been following your history for since you've been on Twitter, and one of the things that was most memorable was your time at iThemes and your.
Yes, that was quite a fun time, I must admit. That was August. I would work there for an entire month, and that was really something else. Do you have any specific questions?
Just tell us about your experience. What it was like to be this new kid on the scene. You get pulled into iThemes as an intern, and what you learned. Did it show you anything about what I'll call the real world and working, and compared to what your experience as a high school student is, and just your whole experience? What was it like?
So I think it really just came from an interest. I was like, I think I want to intern for a company, and I wanted to do exactly that. I wanted to see this business world. I wanted to see developers. It taught me a lot about being a developer. It taught me how to be, I did some support for them, and which I think is really great because, I learned how to do that. So now, for my plugins, I really do know a lot of the etiquette for supporting plugins, business side for sure. And I think it was one of that. Like I said, I wanted to learn a lot, and I think it was great. I think that was the reason I joined because I really wanted to learn. I really wanted to gain a lot from this experience. I did. Using the practices I learned there every day, it was really cool. And just getting, I think it was also one of those things where it just kind of came to me like, I really, I see all these opportunities. Like iThemes was looking for an intern during the summer, and I was like, why don't I try this? I mean, I think it was really cool. I thought it would be cool then, and it was really cool. It was really awesome. I had a really great time. They're great folks. A lot of learning there. So.
Well, what would you recommend if somebody else wanted to try that internship, a high school student or somebody young? What would you recommend ahead of time that they could do to prepare? And what should they ask when they talk to them? What goes into getting into the internship?
Right. They definitely, and I think this is probably, assumed for an internship is they ask you what you want to learn specifically, what do you want to do a lot of. And I think definitely that's what I tell them. I tell them that I think that applies to most internships really. They ask you, what do you want to get out of this? And I think I did know what I wanted to get out of this. I was really interested in many different things, and they got it. Like they hit it. I really understood. I really got everything I wanted from that internship. And so I tell, if a friend of mine who knew WordPress, let's say, too, I tell them have a defined set of goals. What do you want to accomplish at your month there? Are you ready to make that time commitment too? Because, you're right. Like we were talking about that earlier. High school students have so many different other hobbies. So are you willing to, make that time to actually like sit down and do programming? So I think the biggest thing I tell them to is just make sure you want to do something like this for a month. What do you want to do, and tell them, and so yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the internship thing is so cool. Have you done any other internships besides iThemes before?
Not yet.
Okay. So yeah, I mean internships are really, really cool, and I'm always telling I've got a bunch of younger siblings, and I'm always telling them, you guys should be looking at internships. Those are just fantastic. It's such excellent opportunity to learn and develop your skills in a real environment than just like classroom.
Absolutely.
Classroom.
And I was working remote, by the way, which was really awesome. I think. My first job. It was my first job ever, and I was already working remote. So I think that's like a double thumbs up for me.
I envy you.
Really, really cool stuff. I think it's cool that you got to work with a cool company. Like, I think it's a cool company. They've got some cool people. I was in San Francisco, and not everybody is gonna have, like, I'm having a conversation with you, and Corey Miller walks up and says, this guy pointing to you.
Yep.
Great, he's going somewhere, he's awesome. And so, like, how does it make you feel? You're, like, off to a great start, and you've got awesome folks, highly respected people like Corey Miller vouching for you. In my career, when I was your age, I might not have appreciated it as much as I should have, but to have a recommendation like that, it's just astounding.
I know, I think it makes me really want to stay in WordPress for like a good long time, because one thing that I think, like Corey Miller had his presentation in San Francisco about, just going out there and, like this, I'm publishing some of my plugins. Sure, they may have some weird things. It's all functional, but he said just go out and try to publish it. If you have an established idea and you're just like, what will people think of it? It's great to have people like and really smart. I picked his brain a little bit in San Francisco, about different things, and I think it's really good to have. I think it definitely boosts my confidence a lot. Like I said, it helps me, think about just publishing, just going out there, trying some new things. So it's really good. I think it's a very valuable, friendship to have with a lot of different WordPress people, knowing these people, being able to pick their brains. So, yeah.
Nick, I'll jump in next here and ask you about going back to TechVoltz, right? You're a company you've started since getting into WordPress. You mentioned really briefly that you have big plans, you said, for the company.
Oh, big plans.
Let's hear a little bit more about that. Selling, premium.
Selling premium plugins, yep, that is definitely part of that.
What do you have in mind?
Oh, I think that's for another episode of the WP Roundtable.
He's going to leave us in suspense. Oh.
I'm going to leave you guys in suspense only because, things do come and go. My episode back in June with WP Tavern, I talked a lot about a single theme I was building at the time, and it's never been released anywhere because it was such a fail, in my opinion. So I'm not going to get some hype train started just yet, only later to say, well, that's probably never going to happen again.
Like, right? What if we want a hype train? That's what we want.
I mean, I think I'm in a pretty good place. Sure. I did mention that I'm interested in building plugin extensions, premium plugin extensions specifically. So that will be something I think I'll be selling through TechVoltz at some point. Plugins, I think you'll see some, maybe not, groundbreaking, but they might be groundbreaking. We'll just have to see. But definitely a big interest in premium plugins. I don't really have anything I want to share just yet, but TechVoltz.com will be relaunching soon, and I'll be hinting at these things. So.
Awesome. I think we've got a listener question for you.
Sure thing.
Yes. Jeff C. wants to know, what does Nick think about the REST API and its impact on WordPress future?
I think it's great. I'm a contributor to it, so that's a big thing already. I think it's going to be pretty. I've been doing a lot of stuff with JSON lately, and I think when I start releasing some of those premium plugins, there will be some use of JSON APIs and stuff, because it was per se a gateway drug into APIs for me, because I really didn't have interest in external APIs. And that really got me into it, and it's well built. I know they had some issues, and right now they're going through a big phase in cleaning the plugin up and stuff. But I think personally that a lot of people say it's going to be pretty big in WordPress. I think it is. I think I'm definitely on that boat. Revolutionary, perhaps. I mean, perhaps. I mean, at WordCamp San Francisco, somebody told me, or I was called out on stage that I have to build apparently the next revolutionary API after this one. I don't know if that'll happen anytime soon, but for now, this API is great. I think it's a great addition to WordPress, and I hope to see it. there are a lot on their roadmap right now from the last time I looked at the plugin. So I think a lot of cool things to come. So
Nick, walk us through a little bit to some of your plugins. You have released some. So we can talk a little bit about those if you're unwilling to talk about the future. So walk us through some of the plugins that you have and what inspired them and what functionality is in them and what are the parts that you're really proud of?
Sure. So one plugin that I'm particularly proud of right now is my Ninjaform Slack integration plugin, which is inspired by Josh Pollock of Pods. He's on the Pods team. He built the BBPress Slack integration plugin, which is great. I love it. I use it quite a lot for just testing and different things, and hopefully when I have a business running, I'll be using that a lot too. And so I also had the idea with, like, I was like, where else could this be used? And there are a lot of ideas going through my head, and this is not my last Slack plugin. This will be great, and Slack has an awesome API. So I just I forked it. Open source is awesome, and I just built it. And like I said, I have a big interest in APIs right now. The WP API got me into this. So right now I've been doing a lot with I've been working with the Slack API, which is great. And let's see. So in terms of functionality and stuff, there's a simple options page you have. You enter the webhook. You have to activate the webhook integration into Slack, and they'll give you a special URL. You paste that into a special field on the options page, and then every time and then I use a little bit of action magic from the Ninjaforms API is really great. They have great action hooks and filters and stuff. So just did a little bit of work with that, and so now every time a form is submitted, you get the submission ID. You get user data, which I thought was really cool. If they're logged in, you get their username and their email. So I think so I don't think I have anything much more to say about that plugin. It's not object-oriented, which I usually write in. That's something I'll just throw out there. I really like doing that too. This one was just an exception because I'm trying a little bit of funky stuff with like the settings API, and so I haven't quite gone back. So that's what that plugin. So it's a relatively simple plugin, but I think it does something really cool. I hope people use it. I hope people find it useful. I hope to get feedback about it in the future. So let's see, what else do I have? I'll just drop it now. I have a BuddyPress Slack plugin in the works, which will function a lot in the same way. It will definitely have more triggers because there'll be a lot more, I think, going on with that plugin, but it'll be pretty simple too. Some cool features on that. So let's see, what else do I have here? I've done a lot of contributing to plugins versus a lot of building of plugins. So I think, and then I have one more plugin. So right now I have 3 main plugins that I really call out. Like all the other plugins are just empty repositories. I have one more plugin that's still, there's a lot to work on that one, but it's a documentation plugin, which will work. WordPress.org now has a developer reference. It's called DevHub, and I'll have a similar system set up like that, so you can create easy documentation for different projects and whatever you need. So it'll be a nice, clean, wiki style, I suppose, documentation plugin. It'll be a free plugin, and it will be a lot of rewriting to do, a lot of work to do on that, but hopefully soon I'll have that. I'll have something more about that soon. It's been dormant for about a year now, but I hope to get back into that, or more like half a year. But yeah, those are my three big plugins that I want to talk about now. Nothing really else stands out yet because I have a lot to release still, but a lot of stuff sitting on my computer, and it'll be launched hopefully really soon. And that big plugin extension that I'm being so suspicious about will be out soon too.
There's nothing to be ashamed about having 3 plugins and a bunch more coming down the pipeline. So don't feel like you're.
Oh no, not at all. I feel like these are already quite like that. I have 3, out, that's quite an accomplishment for myself already, because I'm really like, I always think that the code's not good enough and everything, but really they've all been great learning experiences, and I hope to have.
Well, that's why you iterate. You make the code better, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. I have one quick one, if the group's all right with me interjecting real quick. Nick, I was just listening to you talk about this going through these phases of heavy development and then heavy learning, and the two kind of creating a feedback loop, and you just get better and better. I'm curious about, how does that learning take place? You can learn quite a bit just encountering problems, and then reading the codex and personal blogs and Stack Overflow and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure you do those things. Do you also use any services like
Lynda.com? I use
our Team Treehouse or Code School or any of those?
So I got started with Code Academy, actually, and I still use it once in a while to this day. Really great resource. I never perfected the JavaScript course there. I think it still goes unfinished on Code Academy. So I go back to it a lot to make sure I finish it up. Lynda, these learning phases are really great for me, because I always learn something new. Like I had a learning phase where I learned a lot about Foundation and Bootstrap, for example. When I was building a theme, I had a little break. Now I did a lot with Grunt, Maurer, JavaScript frameworks this summer. And I think, I just use all these different resources to get me introduced to that, and then they get me going, and then I integrate it with WordPress to make it really awesome. And so I think that's how my learning times go. It's actually heavy learning, I'd say. I still do heavy development. It's just something that's just pieced together. So.
All right, cool.
So we have another question from Jeff Chandler in the audience. And one of the things he's curious about is, once you've reached the appropriate age, and I don't know, is that 18? I don't know what the rules are, but are you going to participate in WordPress's Google Summer of Code if they have one?
Ooh, that is not a bad idea. I haven't put much thought into that yet. It has crossed my mind a few times. That would be really fun to do, actually. I don't know what their appropriate age is, unfortunately. I don't have that up with me right now. But yes, I would eventually probably participate in some way with that. I think I'll definitely participate that whenever. And I think, a lot of it is time too, and I want to put focus on my business. But yeah, I think that'd be something I'd be willing to get into eventually.
How would that, you talk about time, and we've mentioned, and you and I talked off here about juggling school and everything you're doing. How would you feel if you had to do a summer of code like that and you couldn't be part of the community? You didn't get a chance to, you weren't on Twitter all day like you like to be, and you weren't interacting with. Would that be okay? I mean, it's worth it, right?
Yes, I think it would be. The community is really valuable, and I just try to get involved as much as I can, because I learn a lot. I learn quite a lot. Like, you may not see it sometimes, but I really do learn a lot from just long conversations I have with people. So, and tweeting doesn't get in the way at all. Like, I can do it really fast now. I've trained myself.
In between classes, right?
In between classes, right. Well, during the nighttime too. But I think I would be fine. I think that'd be a good sacrifice if I was to do something like Google Summer of Code, because I've heard it's a really great program. So, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I think time at the end of the day comes for myself. I want to build things, and that would definitely take a lot of my summer away, because summer is that time where it's like I have all that time for learning, all that time for heavy development. But yeah, I think that'd be something I'd be interested in doing. So that's my unabridged answer for y'all.
Perfect.
That's good. So Nick, we saw that you're speaking at a WordCamp, San Diego.
Yes, I am. That is my third WordCamp I'm speaking at.
Third WordCamp. That's pretty darn good. And tell us a little bit about what you're going to speak about and what you've spoken about in the past.
So I'm going to be speaking about the right way to include styles and scripts and queuing into your WordPress themes and plugins. I think it's going to be relatively designer-oriented this time. They put me in the designer track, so it's going to be a bit of a simpler sort of talk. but that's basically the gist of it. I still have to write the talk and stuff. In the past, I've done 2 talks about getting started into WordPress development. One was a lightning talk, and one was a full 45 minutes, so it was definitely really fun. But actually, my goal is now with speaking topics, and why I chose, I think this was a great one for me, because I really want to get more into developer-heavy talks now, because I feel like sometimes it's hard to explain simple concepts when I talk about, getting started with WordPress development and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I have it'll be fun. I'm quite sure of it.
So I just actually spoke at my first WordCamp just a week ago down at WordCamp Orlando, and I know at first it's intimidating.
Yes.
How do you prepare, and how has that process evolved from the first time till now? I know you've gotten to know Corey Miller.
Right.
I was part of the WP Sessions VIP.
Yes.
We got a chance to watch the sessions with Chris Lemma, Corey, Andrea Middleton.
Yeah, I signed up for that one.
Yeah,
that was my
great.
help for WP not WP, for WordCamp Milwaukee. That's the stuff I watched before it. I did it. Practice makes perfect. That is truly what I can say about my preparation. It's practice. It's making sure I know the stuff. It was WordSesh last year. I wrote an entire plugin to get myself prepared for the session, because I wanted to make sure I had absolutely all the logistics of the session in my brain. So, yeah, that is definitely how I prepare. Pretty cool way, I think, in my opinion. But
that is pretty cool. We've got a couple more comments coming in from Jeff, who's
man, Jeff is he's on fire with those questions.
I don't know what we're going to do next week when he's on the show. You better ask him a lot of questions.
Yeah, exactly. I'll make sure to ask the troll questions, though.
Exactly.
Yeah, he likes those.
Definitely do that, and we should say that we are interviewing Jeff Chandler of WP Tavern next week, episode 37. Nice. So
very nice. Very nice.
You will need some trolling questions. That would be good. But he did want to drop in a line. He quoted that Google Summer of Code is for students ages 18 and older.
Yeah,
so
18 and older.
Guess that's Nick's got time to build up his skills and then go full time into GSOC session after you graduate.
It's so different at that point. I think that'll be totally different for me, but we'll see.
It is really interesting. I love following the Google Summer of Code.
Oh yeah, it's fascinating, and I think there was a limit. I wasn't sure if it was 17 or 18, but yeah, that clarifies it.
Yeah, that'll be cool. You'll shake things up. And Jeff also wanted to give you a shout out to say that it's not only cool you're learning WordPress, but that you're at the same time contributing to several different plugins, whether it's documentation or code. That's a great example of how to learn WordPress. So just a shout out to you from him.
Shout out to Pods recently. That I've been one of their. I did a lot in that plugin recently. So in their 2.5 release, which is coming up, watch out for a pretty cool design change that I did. So I love contributing. It's great. I learned so much about WordPress and plugins and all these different things. So
that's awesome. So what events, WordCamps, meetups, PHP events, anything are you going to be attending real world face-to-face in 2015?
So my plan is I will start off next year with Midwest PHP, which will be my first non-WordPress event. There'll be WordPress sessions and all that, but it'll be specifically oriented towards PHP. I'll be there in March. Shortly after that, it'll be WordCamp San Diego. After that, it'll be Minneapolis, and I'm going to try to hit a bunch in the Midwest, so maybe I'll hit something like Grand Rapids, Chicago, Milwaukee. I haven't done an East Coast WordCamp yet. Have to find one. I'm not sure. We'll see.
I hear New York is amazing.
I heard New York was really good, and just because of the scheduling and stuff, I really could not go this year. I think it might have been planned to go, maybe, but it was at a good time of the year too. But unfortunately, it just didn't work out. But yes, I will try to maybe go to that one too next year. So
that's great. Well, I really hope to bump into you at some of those. We never miss Chicago and anything in Michigan, and most of them in Ohio, and all of those. So The Midwest is where it's at.
Yeah, Midwest is where it's at. I think it'd be nice to
Right.
go see another side of the community, another coast of the community, I guess I could say. But yeah, I'll be around a lot next year, I think. I think I'm going to be going to a couple more WordPress events than WordCamps than this year. So
Good. Good. That's fantastic. So, we're all missing out, or we all did miss out, I should say, on Las Vegas this weekend.
well,
Yeah.
I don't. Unfortunately, my parents would never let me go to Vegas until I'm like 21. So, or actually, rather 18. And I was told anyways that it isn't a fun WordCamp for someone my age, or a fun like city for someone my age anyways. There's not much to do, so that's what I was told.
Yeah.
There's a lot for you to do. It's just not as much fun as it is for the rest of us. But you would actually have a blast, because Las Vegas is just it's insane and amazing and vibrant all the same time. There's so much energy, and that's just walking down the strip. So it'd be worth you going to, even if you didn't go in any of the casinos.
Just give me like 10 more years. I'll find my way to WordCamp Las Vegas.
10 more years. What do you think, Nick? What do you think the WordPress community is going to be like in 10 years, and WordPress itself?
There will be. I don't know. This is totally my opinion, so don't take me seriously. But
That's what I asked for, is your opinion. So.
yeah, exactly. So I think there'll be a sharp increase in non-WordCamps. This includes Prestige. Right now we have Prestige, Loop, Pressnomics, which are the dominant, non-WordCamp. And there's a lot of those little like meetup events too, whatever they are. But in terms of major, big, exclusive events, I think there'll be a good increase in that. I thought I just mentioned that because I think that's really fascinating. I think the community, there'll be so many new people. I think we'll see just a totally different community, I think, in 10 years. The internet will be a very different place. At that time, there may be someone competing with WordPress heavily. Who knows? Ghost has been hiding in the corner there. I don't know. Maybe if it rises up to 23% of the internet overnight, or in 10 years, rather. But I'm just saying, like, I think there will be some. It'll be, be different to see what kind of WordPress companies. Maybe what happens to all the hosting companies now, where they'll be then. And think about where WordPress was 10 years ago from today, right? Like, totally different. So I don't know how I'll see it though. I can't see it I can't see it vividly, like perfectly in my head, obviously. So I don't have a good idea, I should say.
Your focus changed just even over the last year, so it's hard to say where you
exactly where I'll be
even in a year.
I might become a Ghost developer next year, and then I'll forget what WordPress was. But just kidding. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I want to know how WordPress will look like in 10 years, and I know one of my not one of my questions, but a question I hear a lot given to Matt, right, is where do you think WordPress will be in 5 years? And I think I don't think anyone really knows. It'll be relatively interesting to see at that time. Then that's my unabridged answer again.
I love it.
Like giving those long answers, right? Makes me seem smarter.
We gotta piggyback on that and say where is NikV gonna be?
Where is NikV?
What are you gonna be doing? You said you're gonna become a Ghost developer next year, and so 10 years from now, what are you?
I'll be probably cranking out my own CMSs, like plugins.
You don't think you're gonna graduate or like re-graduate to Google Sites or anything?
No. I'm just joking there. That's really hard to say. That is really right now. It's really hard to say. For now, I plan to be in WordPress for a good long time, but who knows? Focuses do change fast. I don't plan to leave the technology industry per se, the internet industry, anytime soon. But who knows about WordPress?
Do you see yourself flying solo for a long time, or do you envision getting a job at a company, or
I envision a business right now. I think.
Or what?
I think I will be trying for to hold on to a business and grow it. There's a lot of those kids, right, who grow businesses by 18. It's pretty big. I hope that's on my goal to make that's on my goal list to create a pretty cool business by the time I'm 18 and 20, and just I do hope to have a business. I do plan to go to school, which will be fun, you know, college and business and university and all that. But whatever it'll be, I don't really want to be working, you know, the normal 9-to-5 job anytime soon. I think I want to have a very different experience in that retrospect, in that perspective.
That's pretty cool. I like that. So definitely some interesting things in the future coming for you.
Yeah. There's a lot, so watch out for TechVoltz in like the next 6 months, I'd say. There'll be a lot of significant changes in what I'm doing and what I'm building. So,
do you have like role models who are kind of inspiring you to take this path? Because I don't know somebody personally who is starting a business at 15 and saying I don't ever want to have to work the 9-to-5, or just walking this very ambitious path and doing a good job of it. Who set this precedence for you? Who inspires you to?
Inspires me? Oh, there's too many people to count, Kyle. Man, there's a lot of the big, you know, business people in the WordPress community I think inspire me. You know, Corey, right? I said that he had that awesome presentation. And just there's a lot of, you know, people that I know, you know, who are in the Midwestern community who are just WordPress developers and designers and all that, and they really do just inspire me by, you know, encouraging me all the time. And I don't think per se that I have just a single role model. I think I have a lot, and I look up to a lot of people in the community. And, you know, like I said, I learn just from a lot of conversations with them, and it's great to know a lot of them. So I don't know specifically. I think, you know, just the community really inspires me in general. Like, if there was no community, I don't really think I'd be, you know, as encouraged to do this whole web thing for the rest of my, like, not for the rest of my life, but for my entire high school into college and all that. I don't think I'd be interested in starting a business. So, but the community really encourages me and gets me and helps me get better. So, thank you, community.
Thank you, community.
The community is a role model. Not everyone in the community, but a good number of people.
Yeah, that's right. Do you have recommendations for other people that we should invite to be on the show?
I would have... Well, I was going to say have Jeffro so I can troll him. That was going to... like, I kind of saw that question coming, but who would be good to have on this show? I'd say we should have a Dradcast plus Matt Report plus WP Roundtable crossover.
Whoa.
Just for the heck of it. Plus WP Elevation. I'd have James Dahlman of Happy Joe. He's doing a great thing for veterans. Absolutely. That is inspiring. That is really inspiring what he's doing.
I agree with that. That is very, very cool.
I'd have Matt on the show. Ask him a lot of... Well, Matt Mullenweg, that is.
We've got Matt Medeiros.
We can have Matt... Yeah, we can have that too. Who else?
He'll be on in January.
Oh, he will be? Okay, so yeah, I think he's a pretty cool guy too. Carl Hancock I'd have on the show for sure too.
Oh boy, yeah.
He's a really cool guy as well.
You're actually naming a few people that aren't already guests or on the schedule, so good job so far.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I could go for like the next 10 minutes and list off all the people you should have, because like I said, there's a lot of cool people there. No, I don't really. I'll let you guys find them since I'm just repeating now. I mean, yeah, we'll put it that way. So, but there's a lot of good people in the WordPress community. You guys should definitely, you know, get a lot of those business people, you know, WooCommerce developers. There's a lot of really cool people there. Easy Digital Download people are really cool. Pippin and all those. Chris Christoph you should have. He started really young too. He was also in like middle school or high school when he started development. And he's part of the EDD team, and he did some like Shopify stuff. So he's really cool as well. You guys should get him on the show. So if he wants to, I don't know, but yeah, that's it.
Good suggestions. Thank you. We'll be dropping links galore. Yeah, in the show notes for everybody who wants to follow up on all the things we talked about.
Yep.
So, Nick, is there anything that we didn't get to cover that you wanted to talk about?
No, I think you guys did it pretty well. I think we got all the topics that I wanted to. I mean, I suppose we could have talked more about some of the contributing things I did, because I think then that'd make for a more interesting, like, I could talk a little bit more about my coding experience and stuff, but that's all right. There are plenty of blog posts coming up out regarding that stuff too, so.
Well, maybe you just leave enough for the next time you visit the show.
Yes, exactly. Next week, right? Next Monday again?
Next week.
That's where we're on for that still?
You could just ask Chandler.
Yeah, I could just relay all my messages through Chandler.
Yeah, good luck getting a word in edgewise with Chandler.
Oh. yeah, we do love the guy, so that's why he's coming on the show. We're gonna highlight Chandler at the roundtable. I mean the tavern and everything. So tune in.
Yes, I will probably tune in just to troll.
Thank you. Thank you.
Important.
That is important.
Someone has to. Thank you.
Well, it's been a great episode, and really enjoyed talking with you, Nick. Learned a lot. It's very inspiring. I
hope everything I said makes sense. Let's just put it like that. I hope I didn't, like, make things too confusing for the audience.
Not at all. I think people got to know a little bit more about NikV.
Yeah.
Things that you can't necessarily read between the lines on Twitter, and it was a good opportunity. And I know next time that you, whether it's our show or any other, you've always got so much that you can just explain and share that it's never a dull hour to talk with you.
No, I don't think it is at the end of the day. Unless I'm in homework, then it's a really dull time to talk to me. But
yeah, yeah.
Really enjoyed having you on.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much, Nick.
Yeah, man, it's an honor to be on here.
Oh.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. That's really sweet. We appreciate.
I mean, this is an awesome show, you guys. I mean, what can I say?
Do you like the roundtable format?
Yes, I do like the roundtable format. So it's sometimes better than the regular old podcast. I think it's nice to have sometimes a good, nice roundtable rather than just like a one-on-one kind of interview. And I think a lot of podcasts are doing that right now. So at least 2 people per 2 hosts and then a person. So I think that's a good way to do it.
That's so we can gang up on you easier.
Plenty of questions. Great questions as well.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks. Well, you shared a lot of interesting information. I learned a lot. I wish I would love to arrange for you to mentor my younger brothers and get them to be inspired as well. Maybe we could arrange that.
After that check comes in the mail, Kyle.
The check.
After the check comes in the mail.
Must have got lost.
My agents haven't given me anything yet, so they just told me to get on here.
Hey, I'm still waiting for him to send me the new guy check for joining him on the round
Yeah,
table.
exactly.
Yeah. So don't hold your breath.
That's a bill, Rich. Not a check.
Oh, damn it.
Oh, Bill. Dang.
For the privilege.
The privilege. Yeah.
That's how they roll on the round table.
And the honor, as Nick already explained.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. You have pledged your life and your sword at this mighty round table.
Yes. Good. It's a great way to describe it.
Yeah. All right. We are ready to call it a night. I got to go brew some beer, and it's been fun, you guys. Thanks for joining us, Nick. We'll talk again soon.
Yeah, I hope so.
Thanks, Nick.
Good night.